What's up, guys? Well, I got my first car to work on here. It's a '08 Hyundai Elantra, and it's not charging the battery, so I'm assuming it's the alternator. It looks like it's the original one. Car's got 178,000 miles on there. I don't know how old the battery is, but we're going to find out here in a second what's going on with it. Hang on. Alright, guys, got my trusty little scan tool here. Let me see if this seat up. Go back a little bit. There we go. Alright. The battery light is on this thing, and the check engine light is on. And when you drive it, the battery seems to be going dead, and all the lights come on. So, I'm assuming it's the alternator, but we're going to find out. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Hit OK for auto ID. Scanner. This is a Hyundai. Loading database. Here we go. Let's try auto ID. See what happens. Please wait. It's an '08 Hyundai Elantra. It's got the 2.0 liter in it. Hang on a second, guys. I gotta take my sweatshirt off. It is hot out here. Alright, auto ID it real quick. Now, if you guys don't have one of these scan tools, I got this from my Snap-on guy, and it's an older one, but it's updated until 18, and I only gave like $1,500 for this thing, and this thing is amazing. It don't do everything, but it does enough for me. I don't know if you guys can see that on film there. This showed it, and I'm getting ready to hit OK. That's what it is. Let's do a scan. Let's see. Before continuing, ensure the ignition key is on. Yep, it's on. The engine's off. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Just pulling up some codes here. It's at 22%. No codes for transmission yet. Let's pull up transmission in the engine. Let's see what happens. 33, 44%. Okay, here we go. It's not all the way there. Wait till it gets there. Still thinking. These cars have electric power steering. Basically, the power steering's in the power steering is in the steering column, which is pretty cool. All right, it's system. All right, let's see what we got here. It says I have an airbag code, which probably ain't nothing. I have an airbag code. I have 3 monitor codes. No engine codes. So I got a couple code histories here. It's got a C1312, C1313, and a 15. Sensor radio frequency. I don't know what all that is. Alright. It's got 2 codes for the anti-lock brakes. 1 airbag code. Electronic power steering code. Alright. Well, these codes that are throwing off, it's probably throwing them off because the battery. So these codes, that they don't really mean nothing. They don't really mean nothing. Airbag code. Alright. 0 engine codes. That's something else. Huh. Alright. Let's get up out of here. Let's see power steering code. Let's see what that says. Yes. Alright. Let's see. Is the key on? Yeah, the key is on. Huh. It says it's sure the scanner is connected. Yeah, it's connected. Because you wouldn't have read my codes if I wasn't connected. Alright, let's hit retry. See, I think what it is throwing up. Yeah, vehicle voltage scanner too low. The vehicle voltage is too low. Okay, good enough. Well, I was hoping. Let's exit out of here. Let's look at some data here. What I was hoping. Okay, vehicle voltage is too low. All right, well, no, let's exit. Let's exit out. Okay. All right, I'll just leave that there. All right, let me tell you guys what happened. Then I'll clear the codes out. So it's saying that the voltage is too low on this thing, which I already knew that. Okay, what happened is, I don't know if you guys can see that. The battery light come on. The battery light is slash. It's not really means your battery. It's a voltage light. Okay, and what happened was the alternators probably went out in this thing. That's probably what the problem is. Because when you charge the battery up, you got about 15 minutes and the battery goes dead again. So that tells me that the alternator's running off, or the car's running off the battery. So what I'm going to do is, let me shut this off. So this is what I recommend you guys do. Whenever you're and sometimes it won't even throw the code. It'll just hit you all at one time. If your alternator's charging a little bit, then it won't even set off a code, and you won't even know it until you go to start your car one day and your battery's dead, and you think, oh well, my battery needs to be replaced. So then you go to replace your battery and you find out you're still having the same problems. Okay, well this is what I recommend. If you're driving down the road, all of a sudden your airbag light, all your lights start coming on, your alternator's probably done. Okay. And this battery don't look too old. I'll ask them about it when I see them later. But usually when your alternator goes out and you got an old battery, I will just replace both of them. That's what I do. But the battery here don't look that old, so we're just going to do the alternator. And it's just a couple of bolts. Here's the new one right here. It's just a couple of bolts. This bolt right here is on top, and this bolt, it's kind of sitting like this. And that bolt's going to be on the bottom. It's just 2 bolts. And they look like they might be... Look like it might be 10 millimeter, 11 millimeter bolts. Okay? So, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my... Today, I'm going to use my electric ratchet. So I can try to get them bolts out of there. Stay tuned, guys. Alright, guys. I got it out. You got to take it out from the bottom, and you got to pull you got to take off the I don't know how good you guys can see that. You got to take off the oil filter to get it out, and you got to finesse it from the bottom, and it comes back in through the bottom. Do not take this here area off right here, because this is your water pump. You don't need to do that. Don't even mess with the water pump, because usually if you start messing with those things, they start leaking, and then before you know it, you're replacing them. So everything is a 12 millimeter bolt, except for there's a shield down here. Here's the shield right here. This shield right here is 10 millimeter, and there's 3 bolts. There's 3 bolts. There's one there, and one there. It's up on this here side of the bumper, right behind the bumper like. And then this right here, the bolt, well, the nut. The nut is on the outside like this. Let me show you. This alternator, that's the bottom of the alternator right there. And it slides up in there. It's got a thing that keeps it locked. right there, keeps it locked. And then there's a nut, and the nuts on this right here is facing the outside where the tire is, and this one here is facing the inside. And it's just a nut on there, and it's got a self-tensioner on it. Let's see what I do with it right here. It's got a self-tensioner on there, so once you take and loosen that, bottom bolt, that belt will just come right off. And it's just 2 pulleys. You see how small it is? It's just, well, it's 3 pulleys counting the alternator. So I'm gonna have to finesse that thing back up in there, and this is gonna be fun because you got to make sure you get it up in there right. You basically got to get it up in there like this, because if you get it up in there upside down, then you got to pull it out and start all over again. I don't like starting over again. So, all right, guys, stay tuned. Hopefully, I'll have a conclusion for you. But what you're going to need all 12 millimeter. I got this 12 millimeter ratchet wrench there. I used my impact gun to get those out. That's the 10 millimeter, and you will probably need a swivel or not. Depends on how you want to do it. I used my vice grips here, the needle nose vice grips, because that bolt has been sitting in there for a while, and I had to work it to get it out. So I think that's pretty much it. So it's not real bad at all, guys. It's not real bad at all. It's just the hardest part is getting it out, and you got to make sure that you get that oil filter off of there, and it comes out through the bottom, and there's barely enough room there. Because once the wire's in the way and everything, but it comes out and it will go back. So stay tuned, guys. Hopefully I'll have a conclusion here soon. If there's something else I need to show you, I'll show you. But this thing is real easy. It's real easy. It just takes a little bit of time. All right, hang on. I also failed to mention, guys, you will need a jack. You don't have to jack the car all the way up, but it's your whatever you prefer. I just got it jacked up to where the tire's barely off the ground. Tires just barely off the ground. With this being front wheel drive, I don't want to jack it up too far because I don't have it chalked. It'll take all rolling on me. So I just got it jacked up where the tire's barely off the ground. You can jack it all the way up if you want to, put a jack stand on there, whatever. I just got it jacked up far enough to where I can work underneath there. So jack a 12 millimeter wrench, and this one here's a flex. That one there's a flex, so that helps out a lot. And you're probably going to need a swivel and a 10 for the 12 too. And you don't really need deeps. I use deeps, but you don't really need the deeps. So all right, that's where that alternator came from, and that's where it's going to have to go back. All right, hang tight, guys. All right, guys, one more thing I found out too. I hope you can see that it has a cutout down there. I don't know how good you guys can see that. It has a cutout down there, so you can basically put the bolt right through here and just snug tight it, and the alternator will sit right on top of it. And then you just tighten it up, and it keeps it from moving. That was pretty genius, but I didn't see that from up here. So really, you don't have to take this bolt out. You just loosen it up and move it a little bit, and that there just pop right off of there. So that was pure genius of them to do that. Let's see if you can see it. Let's see. Try to get it right. There. I hope you can see that cutout. It's this cutout right here. Right there. See that cutout right there? So you don't even have to pull this bolt out. And now that I know that there is there, this is my first one doing this one, guys. Now that I know that's there, you won't have to pull this cover off. I just pulled the cover off there because I didn't know. I didn't know it was cut out like that, channeled like that. So you won't have to pull that cover off. So that'll save you a little time. All right, guys, hang on. All right, guys. Block the sun out a little bit. There we go. Well, I got it in there. The way they designed this thing, it's not hard at all. It's pretty easy. It's just that if it's your first time, it takes you a minute to figure it out because you don't want to break nothing. This right here, the plug wire on top, it's got a cover over it. You can pop it off real easy. And then it's got like a little collapsible plug on it to pull it out. It was pretty easy to get out. And there's just one bolt down here, which is a hot wire for the battery. Whenever you guys do this, please make sure you tighten the bottom bolt up on this thing, which is underneath it, and make sure you put your oil filter back on. Because before I start, if I left that oil filter off and I start this thing, oil will just blow everywhere. Make sure whenever you do this, you pull off your battery cable. I usually like to take the ground off. And another thing I'm going to do here in a second, I'm going to go get my battery cleaner and pop these off. Just clean all this up. I just want to get it all nice and clean. Alright, hang tight, guys. Alright, guys, another thing you're probably going to need is a pry bar to get down in there. So, I got everything put back except for the cover. I'm going to put that back here in a minute. Let's see if she'll start. Let's see if the light goes off. And then I'll run my scan tool on it again. I don't know if the start battery might not be strong enough to start it. Let's see. Yep. Alright, hang on. I got to jump it. Alright, guys. I recharged the battery. Let me, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to just clear out some codes first before I fire this bad boy up. Let's see what it's going to do. Shut the door, so shut up. Alright. No. Alright. Codes. Still saying low battery voltage. Huh. Right. Okay. See. Still saying low battery voltage. Alright, hang on a second, guys. Alright, guys, well, let's see. I got the battery charged up pretty good now. I turned the key on, got my stuff plugged in. There. Probably see a little bit better doing it this way. Alright. See where it says codes. Let's hit codes and let's see if there's any codes. No codes. Okay. Good enough. So I guess this thing pretty much reset itself, because there is no codes. So let me check something. Check data. Collecting data. Please wait. Nice. The battery is back up at 12 volts. You can see it right there. It's scanning the battery right now. Make sure it's back up to 12 volts. And it is back up to 12 volts. And it looks pretty good. Looks pretty healthy. So, alright, let's give her a start. She fires up pretty good. And there's no lights. No lights whatsoever. So, alright, guys. Well, I call this one here finished. It is purring like a kitten. You can see my voltage right there. 13 point whatever. 3, 4, whatever. So she is purring like a kitten. She is purring real good. It does have a little vibration into it and probably needs a tune-up done to it. I haven't had it. I don't know when's the last time they had a tune-up done to it. So let's go back home. Oh, let's just look for a second. Do a health check, see what's going on here. Shut the car off. You know what? Let's exit out of that one. Alright, well, I kind of shut the car off. So there it goes. It shut it down. So check one more time. Let me make sure my key is on. Give it a second here. Well, I'm going to let that thing do what it needs to do. We checked, there's no codes. So, oh, here we go. Now she's back. Okay, let's see if there's any pending codes. O2 sensor. And the customer told me that the O2 sensor was bad. So, they knew it. They told me it was bad, so that's the only pending one that's in there. There's nothing else in there. Let's see. All right, let's get out of that. Let's see if it's throwing any codes. No codes. Okay, that's what we want. All right, guys. Well, this here's a 08 Hyundai Elantra. And you don't really need this fancy scan tool to get it done. You can get a code reader and make sure that it's for your vehicle. Let me recap here real quick, and then I will get off of this video. This car belongs to a friend of ours, and they called us up and said, my car is stalled, all the lights are on, and it won't start. So immediately I knew it was probably the alternator. Whenever the battery light comes on, it's just on right now because I don't have the car started. You see that battery light right there? Like I said, if the battery light comes on, it does not necessarily mean it's your battery. It's more likely, if the battery light comes on and your car keeps running, and you shut the car off, well, usually when that battery light comes on in about 15 to 25 minutes, your car should start getting real weak. If your car does not get real weak and it still runs great, then it's probably your battery. But if all your lights come on, like in this case, every light came on, airbag light, check engine light, all the bags everything came on, okay? So, in this case, the car stalled, and I knew right away what it was. It was the alternator. So I replaced the alternator, and like I said, the battery still looks newer. I don't know how old it is, but it don't look old. Usually whenever you replace the alternator, and the battery's old, I would just do them both at the same time. It'll save you a headache down the road, because once you get a new alternator and your battery's weak, your batteries just won't be able to keep up with the alternator. So, well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps somebody out there. And this alternator thing is real easy to do. I'm not a big front-wheel drive guy. I don't like front-wheel drive vehicles. Most of my vehicles are rear-wheel drive. But four-cylinder front-wheel drive cars are the easiest to work on. The V6s, some of them can be a nightmare. Like my minivan, the spark plugs are in the back and you can't see them. You got to feel for everything and use mirrors and flashlights. So, all right, guys. Well, until the next time, this is a 08 Hyundai Elantra. And I will see you on the next video. Make sure you like this video, share this video. See, she fires up good. And give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, put them down below, and I will try to answer them as best as I can. And you don't really, if you know like I know, guys, you really don't need a scan tool for this, because I know when an alternator is bad on a car. An alternator makes a humming sound when they're good, and this one here has got this sound. My GMs are real loud. So, all right, guys. Well, today is 17th, I think it is October 17th, and I think it's about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, somewhere in there. All right, guys. Well, till the next time. Bye bye.